And the Grammy for female R&B vocal performance goes to Mary J. Blige.
They call her the Queen of Hip Hop Soul, but behind the diamonds, the Grammys, and the spotlight lies a story carved out of pain, perseverance, and power. There was a time when this mansion wasn't just her home, it was her healing ground, a sanctuary built from scars. Because before the $12 million estate, before the global tours, and before the legend, there was just Mary the girl from Yonkers fighting to survive. She sold over 100 million records, but nearly lost herself in the process. This isn't just about fame, it's about faith. It's about a woman who turned heartbreak into harmony and pain into property. From broken hearts to golden chandeliers, this is how Mary J. Blige turned soul into a $12 million comeback. If your pain could build a palace, what would yours look like? Before the fame, before the Grammys, before the marble halls of her New Jersey mansion, there was a little girl with a hairbrush for a microphone and a dream big enough to outshine the projects. Mary Jane Blige was born in the Bronx in 1971, but her story began in Yonkers, a city that raised her with both love and lessons. It was a place of struggle and survival, where broken glass glistened on sidewalks like diamonds waiting for a miracle. Her mother worked tirelessly to keep the lights on. Her father, a jazz musician, battled alcoholism and eventually left when Mary was just 4. What remained was a home filled with rhythm and resilience. In a neighborhood where gunshots echoed more often than applause, music became her escape. Gospel filled her mornings. Soul music tucked her in at night. Aretha, Chaka, Anita, these women weren't just singers to her. They were survival guides. But even as her voice began to bloom, life around her began to break. She faced the harsh realities of growing up in poverty, the violence, the drugs, the constant battle between hope and heartbreak. By her teenage years, she'd seen more pain than most adults could bear. Friends lost to the streets, dreams buried under bills. And yet, in those moments, her voice became louder, stronger, and filled with purpose. It was here in a shopping mall karaoke booth that destiny whispered her name. At just 17, Mary recorded an impromptu version of Anita Baker's Caught Up in the Rapture. What if one small moment, one risk could change your whole life? Would you take it? A simple tape passed from hand to hand until it landed on the desk of Uptown Records executive Andre Harrell. Harrell heard something raw, a storm wrapped in silk, and with the help of a young intern named Sean Puffy Combs, that sound would soon become the heartbeat of a generation. But even as opportunity knocked, the battles inside her never stopped. Fame came chasing her before healing ever could. She struggled with self-doubt, addiction, and the shadows of her past. For Mary, music wasn't just art, it was survival. Every lyric was a confession, every note a prayer. She didn't just dream of being heard, she needed it to survive. Because long before she became the queen of hip-hop soul, she was just a young girl trying to sing her way out of the dark. And soon that voice, the one born from brokenness, would change the sound of R&B forever. The early 90s were loud, heavy beats, baggy jeans, and a new sound rising from the boroughs of New York. In the middle of it all stood a young woman with a voice that could break hearts and heal them in the same verse. Mary J. Blige wasn't trying to fit in. She was rewriting the rules. In 1992, she released What's the 411, a daring fusion of hip-hop swagger and soulful confession. Her sound was raw, her energy magnetic. For the first time, R&B had street grit and soul grace living in the same groove. Critics called her the bridge between two worlds. Fans just called her real. Every song felt like an open diary heartbreak, wrapped in rhythm, struggle sung with style. She wasn't just performing, she was preaching survival. Mary J. Blige became the soundtrack of pain and perseverance for a generation raised on both struggle and hope. Then came My Life in 1994, a confessional masterpiece born out of darkness. Addiction, abusive love, and depression haunted every lyric, yet her voice carried light through it. The album didn't just go platinum, it became scripture for anyone fighting their own battles. Critics hailed it as one of the greatest R&B albums ever recorded. Fans found healing in every note. By the late 90s, Mary wasn't just a singer, she was the queen of hip-hop soul. Hits like Be Without You, No More Drama, and Family Affair defined an era. Each performance was a sermon in stilettos, pain polished into poetry. The world crowned her royalty, but the crown was heavy. Behind the applause, she was still battling storms the cameras never caught. Her success multiplied. Grammys stacked high, sold-out tours across continents, collaborations with legends from Aretha Franklin to U2. She moved with purpose, reinventing herself with every era. And it didn't stop with music. In 2017, Mary shocked Hollywood with Mudbound. Her portrayal of Florence Jackson earned her 2 Oscar nominations, one for Best Supporting Actress, another for Best Original Song. She had climbed from Yonkers stairwells to the Academy stage. Then came television. In Power Book 2, Ghost, she traded microphones for monologues, proving that her talent wasn't limited to melody, it was muscle. Her journey became one of constant reinvention. Music, movies, fashion, entrepreneurship, each chapter a mirror of resilience. She wasn't just performing anymore, she was building an empire. From fragrance lines to fashion partnerships, Mary turned her name into a global signature of elegance and empowerment. But behind the platinum records and red carpets, Mary's world was quietly crumbling. The marriages, the lawsuits, the financial turmoil, her success story took a turn that tested everything she'd fought for. She wasn't done singing. She was ready to start speaking. Because even when the empire trembled, the queen stood tall. What do you think made Mary J. Blige the queen her voice, her vulnerability, or her vision? Every stage she stepped on, every scar she sang through it, was never just about fame. It was about survival, transformation, and faith. When you walk through the doors of Mary J. Blige's New Jersey estate, you don't just step into a mansion, you step into a testimony. 18,000 square feet of marble, gold, and grace. 8 bedrooms, 13 bathrooms, a private theater, a recording studio, and a spa so serene it feels like a sanctuary in the clouds. This isn't just a house, it's healing, built in stone and glass. Once owned by an NBA star, the estate now stands as the Queen's fortress. Every chandelier, every velvet sofa, every scent of white rose in the air whispers one thing: I made it. For Mary, this wasn't about showing off. It was about reclaiming, about walking through hallways lined not just with art, but with proof that survival can shine brighter than any diamond. Outside, the mansion breathes. A pool that mirrors the sky. A home gym filled with custom equipment. A kitchen gleaming with chrome and marble, the kind you see only in luxury magazines. But it's the view from her balcony that tells the real story. A woman who rose from the concrete streets of Yonkers, now looking out over acres of serenity she built with her voice, her pain, and her persistence. Mary's fashion isn't just fabric, it's armor. Dolce & Gabbana, Versace, Gucci, every piece a symbol of transformation. Those thigh-high boots, power, those custom gowns, confidence. Every outfit, every performance look says, I'm no longer running from pain. I'm wearing my victory. She doesn't follow trends, she creates them. From the signature blonde hair to the bold hoops and sleek silhouettes, Mary's style tells a story of evolution. A reminder that you can look like $1,000,000 even after life tried to break you. Her cars reflect the same energy. A Bentley Continental for elegance, a Rolls-Royce Wraith for power, a Range Rover Vogue for those moments she wants to move. In silence, still luxury, still command. Every key, every engine start, every drive down that long mansion driveway echoes triumph. Because when you've spent your life trying to escape pain, there's a quiet power in driving something that represents peace. But Mary's luxury isn't about escape, it's about arrival. Each chandelier above her isn't just lighted survival shining back. Each designer dress isn't vanity, It's therapy stitched into fabric. Every corner of that mansion is a chapter of her healing, written in gold and marble. For years, she sang about love, heartbreak, and redemption. Now, her home sings back to her in silence, in safety, in space. There's something poetic about that. The woman whose pain made the world cry, now finding peace behind 12-foot iron gates. But make no mistake, behind the chandeliers and Dior, there's still the human heartbeat of Mary J. Blige. A woman still seeking, still healing, still fighting for something money can't buy: peace. Because luxury can fill a house, but it can't always quiet the echoes of the past. And for Mary, true wealth isn't in her jewelry boxes or car collection. It's in the fact that she's still standing, still singing, still her. But behind the diamonds and Dior, she was still fighting for something money couldn't buy: peace. Would you take Mary's cars, her wardrobe, or her view from that mansion balcony? There was a time when love seemed like the one thing Mary J. Blige could never master. When she married her former manager, Kendu Isaacs, in 2003, it looked like the perfect love story, the man who believed in her, who stood beside her through the chaos of fame. But behind the cameras, love and business tangled into a storm that would test everything she'd built. When it ended, it wasn't just the end of a marriage, it was the beginning of a reckoning. Mary lost money, trust, and a piece of her heart, but she refused to lose herself. Her healing wasn't loud. It came quietly, in mornings spent meditating, in afternoons writing lyrics about self-worth, in nights filled with prayer instead of pain. The woman who once sang of real love was finally learning to love herself without conditions, without fear. Her mansion, once a symbol of success, became a sanctuary of silence, a place where she could finally breathe. Her friendships became her foundation. Diddy, Taraji, Nas, the loyal few who reminded her of who she was before the fame, before the heartbreak. They saw the same Mary from Yonkers, the girl with a dream, still fighting, still shining. Now, when she performs, it's not just music, it's testimony. Her voice carries years of lessons, tears, and quiet victories. It's healing in motion, faith on a microphone. The woman who once sang "No More Drama" finally found her peace, and it came not from revenge or resolution, but from release. Through heartbreak, she learned that peace isn't found in people, it's built in solitude. If you had to choose love that tests you, or solitude that heals you, which would you take? Before the luxury, before the Grammys, there was purpose. And for Mary J. Blige, purpose has always been louder than fame. After surviving addiction, heartbreak, and public scrutiny, Mary made a vow to become the voice for those who couldn't speak through their pain. Through her foundation work, she's opened doors for underprivileged youth, giving them access to education, music programs, and mentorship. For her, it's not charity, it's redemption. She speaks openly about mental health and self-worth, reminding young women that healing isn't weakness, it's power. Her raw honesty has made her more than an artist. She's become a blueprint for emotional survival. Every female R&B artist who came after her carries a piece of Mary's soul. The grit, the vulnerability, the unapologetic truth that's her legacy. She didn't just change the sound of R&B, she changed what survival looks like. Her honors tell part of the story: BET Lifetime Achievement Award, Time 100, a star on the Apollo Walk of Fame. But the real reward isn't gold-plated. It's the woman she became after the world tried to break her. And while her mansion shines in gold, her true empire is built in hearts. Real love. I'm searching for a real love. Do you think Mary's greatest legacy lives in her music, or in the lives she's helped heal? From the hallways of Yonkers to hallways lined with marble and gold, Mary J. Blige's journey has never been about luxury alone. It's been about survival, reinvention, and the kind of peace money can't buy. She turned pain into poetry, struggle into strength, loss into legacy, and every chandelier every car, every award is a reflection of what happens when resilience meets grace. Because her mansion isn't her reward, it's her reminder. A reminder that healing takes time, but faith never fades. That no matter how dark the night gets, the sunrise is always waiting right above the balcony. Today, she stands not just as the queen of hip-hop soul, but as a living testament that no crown shines brighter than one polished by pain, purpose, and perseverance. Mary J. Blige didn't just sing her truth, she lived it. So tell us, is Mary J. Blige's greatest success her music, her resilience, or her peace? If you felt inspired by this story, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for more cinematic journeys into Black excellence, luxury, and legacy. Because behind every mansion, there's a story worth telling.